Hello guys, I'm here to continue our chapter book, Ramona the Pest. We are going to begin chapter 3, which is titled Seat Work. So before we begin, let's recap everything we have read. Chapter 1 begins with the main character entering kindergarten, a big milestone. She's beginning school. She's very excited about it. She has a sister. Does anyone remember her sister's name? Beezus, right? Her sister's name is Beezus. That's the nickname for Beatrice. And she's an older sister that's already been in school. And you see that they get into some quarrels in the beginning of the book, which means arguments, and she calls her a pest. So Ramona didn't really like that. So she goes to kindergarten and she meets her new kindergarten teacher. Do we remember her name? Miss Binney, right? She really likes her kindergarten teacher and she's trying to satisfy her, but she gets in trouble on the first day of school, right? The first day of school, she gets in trouble and she gets a little timeout. In chapter 2, it's show and tell, right? She brings her show and tell item. But she also lends her friend, do we remember her friend's name that she lends a show and tell item to? Howie, yes. She lends a show and tell item, a bunny, a stuffed bunny to Howie, and Miss Binney puts a ribbon around the bunny's neck, and then there's an argument between Howie and Ramona when it comes to the ribbon. That's chapter 2. Well, let's see what happens in chapter 3, which is called seat work. Do you guys know what seat work is? Seat work is just work you do in school that you do in your seats, okay? We have center work, we have morning work, and seat work, when you hear that, that just means doing it in your seat. Okay, here we go. Chapter 3, seat work. There are 2 kinds of children who went to kindergarten. Those who lined up beside the door before school, as they were supposed to, and those who ran around the playground and scrambled to get into line when they saw Miss Binney approaching. Ramona ran around the playground. One morning, as Ramona was running around the playground, she noticed Davy waiting for Henry Huggins to lead him across the intersection. She was interested to see that Davy was wearing a black cape pinned to his shoulders with 2 big safety pins, while Henry held up 2 cars and a cement truck. Ramona watched Davy crossing the street. So you could see the patrols in the school, the older kids help with the crosswalk. They're kind of like the safety guards. So let's see what happens with this. The more Ramona saw of Davy, the better she liked him. He was such a nice, shy boy with blue eyes and soft brown hair. Ramona always tried to choose Davy for her partner in folk dancing, and when the class played Grey Duck, Ramona always tagged Davy unless he was already in the mush pot. When Davy arrived, Ramona marched up to him and asked, "Are you Batman?" "No," said Davy. "Are you Superman?" asked Ramona. "No," said Davy. Who else could Davy be in a black cape? Ramona stopped and thought, but was unable to think of anyone else who wore a cape. "Well, who are you?" she asked at last. "Mighty Mouse," crowed Davy, delighted that he had baffled Ramona. "I'm going to kiss you, Mighty Mouse," shrieked Ramona. Davy began to run, and Ramona ran after him. Round and round the playground they ran, with Davy's cape flying out behind him. Under the traveling bars and around the jungle gym, she chased him. "Run, Davy, run!" screamed the rest of the class, jumping up and down until Miss Binney was seen approaching, and everyone scrambled to get into line. Every morning afterward, when Ramona reached the playground, she tried to catch Davy so she could kiss him. "Here comes Ramona," the other boys and girls shouted when they saw Ramona walk down the street. "Run, Davy, run!" And Davy ran with Ramona after him. Round and round the playground they ran, while the class cheered Davy on. "That kid ought to go out for track when he gets a little older," Ramona heard one of the workmen across the street say one day. Okay, let's look at the picture of Ramona and Davy. Oh, he doesn't seem to be liking that, does he? Once, Ramona came near enough to grab Davy's clothes, but he jerked away, popping the buttons off his shirt. For once, Davy stopped running. "Now see what you did?" he accused. "My mother is going to be mad at you." Ramona stopped in her tracks. "I didn't do anything," she said indignantly. "I just hung on. You did the pulling." "Here comes Miss Binny," someone called out, and Ramona and Davy scurried to get in line by the door. After that, Davy stayed further away from Ramona than ever, which made Ramona sad, because Davy was such a nice boy and she did so long to kiss him. However, Ramona was not so sad that she stopped chasing Davy. Round and round they went every morning until Miss Binny arrived. Miss Binny, by this time, had begun to teach her class something more than games: the rules of kindergarten and the mysterious Donzer song. Ramona thought of kindergarten as being divided into two parts. The first part was the running part, which included games, dancing, finger painting, and playing. The second part was called seat work. Seat work was serious. Everyone was expected to work quietly in his own seat without disturbing anyone else. Ramona found it difficult to sit still because she was always interested in what everyone else was doing. "Ramona, keep your eyes on your own work," Miss Binny said, and sometimes Ramona remembered. For the first seat work assignment, each member of the class was told to draw a picture of his own class. Ramona, who had expected to learn to read and write in school like her sister Beezus, used her new crayons quickly to draw her house with 2 windows, a door, and a red chimney. With her green crayon, she scrubbed in some shrubbery. Anyone familiar with her neighborhood could tell the picture was of her house, but somehow Ramona was not satisfied. She looked around to see what others were doing. Susan had drawn a picture of her house and was adding a girl with boing boing curls looking out of the window. Howie, who had drawn his house with the garage door open and a car inside, was adding a motorcycle parked at the curb. Davy's house looked like a clubhouse built by some boys who had a few old boards and not enough nails. It leaned to one side in a tired sort of way. Ramona studied her own drawing and decided she would have to do something to make it more interesting. After considering various colors of crayon, she selected the black and drew big black swirls coming from the windows. "You aren't supposed to scribble on your picture," said Howie, who also was inclined to pay attention to other people's work. Ramona was indignant. "I didn't scribble. The black is part of my picture." When Miss Binny asked the class to set their pictures on the chalk rail so that everyone might see them, the class noticed Ramona's picture at once because it was drawn with bold, heavy strokes and because of the black swirls. "Miss Binny, Ramona scribbled all over her house," said Susan, who by now had revealed herself as the kind of girl who always wanted to play house so she could be the mother and boss everyone. "I did not," protested Ramona, beginning to see that her picture was going to be misunderstood by everyone. Maybe she had been wrong to try to make it interesting. Maybe Miss Binny did not want interesting pictures. "You did too." Joey ran up to the chalk rail and pointed at Ramona's black swirls. "See?" The class, including Ramona, waited for Miss Binny to say Ramona should not scribble on her picture. But Miss Binny merely smiled and said, "Remember your seat, Joey. Ramona, suppose you tell us about your picture." "I didn't scribble on it," said Ramona. "Of course you didn't," Miss Binny said. Ramona loved her teacher even more. "Well," she began. The black isn't scribbling. It's smoke coming out of the windows. And why is smoke coming out of the windows? Gently pressed Miss Binny. Because there's a fire in the fireplace and the chimney is stopped up, explained Ramona. It's stopped up with Santa Claus, but he doesn't show in the picture. Ramona smiled shyly at the teacher. I wanted to make my picture interesting. Miss Binny returned her smile, and you did make it interesting. Davy looked worried. How does Santa Claus get out? He asked. He doesn't stay in there, does he? Of course he gets out, said Ramona. I just didn't show that part. The next day, seat work got harder. Miss Binny said that everyone had to learn to print his name. Ramona saw right away that this business of names was not fair. When Miss Binny handed each member of the class a strip of cardboard with his name printed on it, anyone could see that a girl named Ramona was going to have to work harder than a girl named Anne or a boy named Joe. Not that Ramona minded having to work harder. She was eager to learn to read and write. Having been the youngest member of her family and of the neighborhood, however, she had learned to watch for unfair situations. Carefully, Ramona printed R the way Miss Binny had printed it. A was easy. Ramona, even a baby could print A. Miss Binny said A was pointed like a witch's hat, and Ramona was planning to be a witch for Halloween parade. O was also easy. It was a round balloon. Some people's O's looked like leaky balloons, but Ramona's O's were balloons full of air. I like the way Ramona's O's are fat balloons full of air, Miss Binny said to the class. Ramona's heart filled with joy. Miss Binny liked her O's best. Miss Binny walked across the classroom looking over her shoulders. That's right, boys and girls, nice pointed A's, she said. A's with nice sharp peaks. No, Davy, D faces the other way. Splendid, Karen. I like the way Karen's K has a nice straight back. Let's see what's happening there. Okay, we will continue reading chapter 3 another time. So look out for part 2 of chapter 3. I hope you guys enjoyed the beginning of our chapter, Seat Work. See you later.